Welcome everybody to a brand new video on the PowerDrift YouTube channel and another brand new SUV. Now, how many of these have we had this year already? This of course is the new Jeep Meridian, and I was going to make a couple of jokes and puns about longitudes and latitudes, but I think I'll get straight to the point. The Ford Endeavour isn't in India anymore, sadly, and the Fortuner, well, that has no real rivals anymore. So is this one. Can Jeep pick up that American gauntlet and take it to the Japanese once again in this big, burly, 7-seat SUV space? Well, that's what we'll find out today. But for first, and to start off with, just look at how it looks. Warrants a bit of a photograph, doesn't it? And that, ladies and gents, is half the battle won. A car that looks good usually sells better, and the Meridian is a head turner. It has all the Jeep attributes. Big grille, it's upright, it's in your face, it's squared off. Basically, it's designed to look like a definitive SUV. All that is fine, but let's now get to some down and dirty business. Four-wheel drive business. Now, the Meridian, just like the Compass, does a lot of the stuff that you actually throw at it in the normal four-wheel drive high, the standard four-wheel drive high that you get. We do have a four-wheel drive low option, but unlike, say, the Wrangler, which has a separate lever to actually put it into four-wheel drive low and a different gear gets engaged in the transfer case, this one is a little bit different. It's not traditionally as traditional four-wheel drive lows are. It is a smarter or modern way of doing things. So the 9-speed gearbox that you actually get on a normal usage pattern, you are actually using just second to 9. You're not actually using the first gear till you engage that four-wheel drive low button, which is right there next to the gearbox lever, the gear lever. And what that does is lock it in to first gear, giving you that lower gear to sort of go over those obstacles with a little bit more ease and of course a lot more torque. And obviously it does have a lot of torque, 350 Newton meters, and I'm going to talk about the engine a little bit later in this video. But 350 Newton meters, nice ground clearance, big 18-inch tires, nice chunky pattern. These are 80. It's basically more than enough to get over almost every obstacle that you can throw at it, especially ones that you will try to do in a car like this. Note though, do not drive on the side of a hill while trying to overtake a truck, because that usually ends up really badly.
अरे वाह शेर तुम तो बड़े हैवी ड्राइवर हो भाई.
If you're wondering how capable this car is, the answer is very simple. Extremely capable. Okay, let's get slightly practical now. The real reason one would consider the Meridian is because it is a larger SUV and has 3 rows of seats. The front and the middle row is pretty much nice and comfy as the Compass, but overall it does feel a little bit more premium as the color palette is different, and that is what makes a bit of a difference. The third row, like on most SUVs of this size, is best avoidable for long journeys, although I must say it is comfortable to sleep in, and yes, it does recline as well. Oh, and I fit in, so that's not too bad, but I'd prefer not to commute in it like with almost all of its contemporaries. And of course, it is packed with features: a great infotainment screen and instrument cluster, a massive pano roof, cool seats, basically everything you would really need on your day-to-day commute. What an absolutely lovely start of the morning, isn't it? Going off-road in a Jeep. That's what every Jeep owner should be doing at least a couple of times a month. And Yes, I know it's not gonna be the case with everybody who does buy this car, because after all there are gonna be more mall crawling than rock crawling, but nonetheless that was fun, and of course it was capable. Now we've hit some, well, rural trails, and that really shows what the car is capable of in terms of its suspension setup. Now the one thing that Jeep got really right with the Compass was that suspension setup. It was phenomenal to drive on bad or uneven or rural trail roads like this. This one is even better. That's mainly because it is a slightly longer wheelbase, so it feels a little bit more comfortable, a little more cushy, a little more planted as well. Overall, I think this is a bit of an improvement on the Compass, and that is big praise. Trust me. It is pretty much the same with everything else too. It just feels like a package that is unstoppable irrespective of what you throw at it. And at the end of the day, isn't that what you want an SUV to be? So now that we finally hit some nice tarmac, and I didn't expect the tarmac to be this good in the middle of literally nowhere, to be very honest, I can tell you a little bit more about the engine, because it finally gives me the chance to spread the wings of the Meridian just a tad bit more. So the engine, it is that known and liked 2-liter diesel engine that you get in the likes of the Tata Safari, and in the Tata Harrier, and in the MG Hector, and in the Jeep Compass, and now it's in the Meridian as well. It's almost like the ubiquitous diesel engine for a biggish SUV in India, in the same way that the 1.3 multi-jet was the ubiquitous diesel engine for India at one point of time. So, facts and figures. Let me quickly rattle that off. 170 horsepower, still 350 Newton meters of torque, 0 to 100 takes just under 11 seconds, and the claimed top speed is just shy of 200 kilometers per hour. Not that you should legally ever be using that in any case. That said, it does feel like it has always felt. It feels nice and comfortable. It feels stocky. It feels like it's under stressed. It feels like it's just going about its business like nothing really matters, and it'll just keep doing its job fairly well. Even if you put your foot down, you don't really feel that lack of performance. And I mean, 170 horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque should not make you feel the lack of performance, although that 100 figure is a little slow on paper. On the go though, when you really need it, it doesn't feel slow, it doesn't feel underpowered at all. In fact, it feels really nice. NVH levels are great. On the whole, just as you would expect a slightly larger Compass to feel, the Meridian feels perfectly capable of doing city runs, highway runs, rural roads, and pretty much everything in the middle. I started the day off asking an important question, and since there is a Fortuner, albeit a first gen facelift that just passed us, I thought it's fair to only answer that question at the fag end of this video. Is this today a true Fortuner rival? Yes, it is a slightly lower car in terms of overall height, so it might not give you that outright road presence in terms of that towering height look, but it is pretty much wide, it is long, it is in your face. In fact, it is more in your face than the Fortuner is, with that absolutely slab front grille. Simple answer to that question: yes. Yes, it is. This goes in perfectly where Ford has left off that gigantic gap. This today, I present you the Endeavour replacement, something that has been lacking in the market for a long time.